Hello and welcome to another replay. So today I'm the Iceni, my ally is Carthage, we're going up against Rome and Sparta. You can see that the Roman army is, well, far more experienced than the Iceni. These are all armoured legionaries, there's 3 auxiliary Syrian archers, 2 auxiliary Balearic slingers, and you have 3 Socii Equites there, along with the Roman general. Mine is far less, be it professional. I have 5 sword band, 3 painted warrior, 2 levy freemen, and I also have 2 chosen swords and 1 heroic noble, which are back here. I also have a heroic rider general, 2 Briton skirmishers back there, and a veteran rider. I know that the Iceni cavalry is not as good as Rome, will certainly be destroyed, so I'm going to have to be very careful here, because I don't want to have to draw my general in early, and there is a lot of Roman cavalry. You can see there the 3 Socii Equites making their way out onto the flank to try and face off against my cavalry skirmishers, but mainly to try and get into my line from the side. And it's a good target because it's quite easy to go through levy freemen. But I'm hoping that the fact that levy freemen have very good javelin horses, they're able to throw javelins very well, and they can be very damaging. So it's more than a threat. My only regret is not having bought another levy freeman. I could have done with 3, not 2, to protect my slingers. Over here you can see the Carthaginian army. It's just moving into position to engage Sparta, which is a rather, I would say, newbie build, but I reckon they were just trying to firstly protect themselves from Carthaginian elephants and cavalry, and also in case I actually brought chariots along. Although I did say I wouldn't bring any, so yeah, still a very anti-cavalry build, but there's about 5 Spartan pikemen over there, and well, not even 5, I think it's 6 there. That's certainly more than enough to do a lot of damage. Spartan pikemen, unlike the usual pikemen, are slightly more damaging, so I suppose the closest thing you could compare them to is 4-axe pikemen, which Macedon and I think the Seleucids field. We can see a 2-tier archer set over here as Rome moves up, so auxiliary Balearic slingers in front, and auxiliary Syrian archers moving into position behind. So I'm pretty much going to open fire as soon as they get in range. I've got my guys on fire at will, and I don't think my enemy was expecting this. Here we go. So auxiliary Balearic slingers really are a very easy target. They're only light missile infantry. When you're targeting all 3 Briton slingers against them, they are going to go down quite fast, and there's not much that can be done about that. But over here we can see Rome has already got an idea to go in for my cavalry and to... Well, that was an attempt to go into my flank again, but clearly hasn't worked. My slingers are also getting fired on with all the slinger fire coming in, archer fire from Rome. New Socii Equites now running up the flank. I've already managed to dispatch 1 of my slingers. So I've had to send in my British general, which is a Roman rider. They're going to get fired on straight away. It's a very good target for the Syrian archers. I don't blame them. You can also see armoured legionaries. This is the first line rushing in. There's another 4 units back there. I'm going to pop this into slow motion. So you can see the fact that these levy freemen are just running across the line is actually going to help. Whilst back here, Socii Equites, they finished off both of the Britain skirmishers, which is rather unfortunate, but I really haven't protected that flank. In the long run, though, it's not actually going to matter because they simply don't have enough troops. And my sword band are already leveled up, just enough to give them a bit more experience. Melee attack will make them attack faster, really. So as you can see, I've sent in 3 sword band there, and I think there's another one there. So 4 of my sword band are currently engaging armoured legionaries who are losing decisively, which is quite strange because you don't expect Roman armoured legionaries to lose straight away to British sword band, especially when they're only 3 experience ranks. I don't think there's much difference other than, I mean, the sword band attack is less, the weapon damage is a bit more. Charge bonus was 25 and they did get a good charge in. But then the armour is... armoured legionaries would clearly do better in a longer fight. Just the fact that they're one of the most heavily armed Roman units. Meanwhile, on the left flank over here, my cavalry have been destroyed. I've sent in painted ones, which is the only thing I can do at this moment in time to try and slow down the Socii Equites. I think this pays off more for the Roman cavalry because they're simply able to move straight through the painted ones. And they're now going to come in with another Roman unit and again go straight for these Britain skirmishers. On the flank here we can see levy freemen. The other thing, of course, is that these sword band do have javelins and they are going to open fire as soon as the Socii Equites are in range, and that's going to cause the most casualties. Over here we can see that the sword band have come in. And while this is going on, what I'm going to do is bring my infantry round here, because on this flank I can see the Roman archers are moving up, and I want to stay out of the line of fire with them. I don't want to go charging straight into them. So while this middle engagement is going on, I'm going to bring these infantry round and stop them becoming a target for the Roman archers. Over here we can see that Sparta has formed a rather defensive perimeter. There's what appears to be 3 mercenary Cretan archers, although one has already gone down. They're facing up against the mercenary Balearic slingers here, so this, I think, would go to... well, this is probably going to go to the mercenary Balearic slingers. You can see the Spartan cavalry already making its way over, and this is because the Carthaginian cavalry has also been on this flank. And Rome is having to compensate by pulling away some of its armoured legionaries. Here we can see a painted one, very experienced as you can see, because I've put the experience rating up again, which is one of the benefits of commanding the Iceni. I did try battle before this where I brought ambushers instead of the painted ones, and I have to say I found that the ambushers weren't as good. So let's just take a quick look at the Carthaginian line. So over here we see mercenary Gallic warriors, which are going to have a hard time against the Spartan line. 2 Carthaginian cavalry still on the right flank, mercenary Iberian swordsmen, that's good, because they will have lots of javelins, and you can see right there they're holding javelins. Libyan infantry now moving in a almost sort of like that, really. Trying to go around the pikes, which is the only thing you can do engaging pikes, because you can't take them head on unless you have some very tanky infantry, which Rome could do, but they're the enemy in this game, so that is not going to be a solution. Another mercenary Iberian swordsman there. I think personally I would have brought more mercenary Iberian swordsmen, Scutari, instead of the mercenary Gallic warriors, simply because they'd be more up to challenging the pikes head on, because they can throw javelins, and it would force Sparta to be aggressive. So here we can see another engagement going on, sword band coming into the armoured legionaries, who've already lost a quarter of a unit there. The painted ones have now finished off this engagement, so we've got armoured legionaries retreating, but there's still 2 units there. Spartan cavalry there. Roman generals sitting back, very far back. And here we can see Carthaginian cavalry trying to engage the skirmishers, but not really having much luck. 19 left. And they're not actually going to manage to dispatch any of those units, because there is an armoured legionary coming. As you can see, I'm bringing my infantry around. I've got that sword band there, I've got a heroic noble there, a chosen sword band here, and I've just run in a painted one into this armoured legionary here to stop it throwing javelins. It was cunningly taking out this painted one over here. You can see some beautiful moves from the Romans there, just throwing Iceni painted ones over their shields. So you can see something similar with Pontic swordsmen, actually. If I can capture one of them doing it. Where are we? Brilliant jump there by a sword band unit. You see the slingers are still doing quite well. Over here, a armoured legionary has actually come in on this side, and this Levy Freeman is going to get completely shredded. But by this stage, it really is too late for Rome, because there's 3 units on this flank. There's a chosen sword band destroying the enemy citizen cavalry, that about half the unit gone already. Meanwhile, over here we can see an armoured legionary coming in. Spartan hoplites moving up on a flank of Libyan infantry, behind which is a mercenary Gallic warrior. Overall, I think this was done the wrong way round. Again, the mercenary Gallic warrior is a unit you can charge in straight away. I'd have that going in there straight away. And of course, this mercenary Iberian swordsman really you need over there, just so that you can fire on the side, or, well, really on the rear of these hoplite units, just to get rid of them quicker. And Libyan infantry being charged into, that's not going to go too well for the Libyan infantry. Libyan infantry are good, but I wouldn't say that they're best infantry. They're still solid. Spartan hoplites really are very good, and I think people underestimate the amount that the lower tier Spartan units can actually do. So you can see here all the archer units have moved up on this flank, and it's now a question of 3 Briton slingers versus, well, 2 auxiliary archers and an auxiliary Balearic slinger. 1 auxiliary Syrian archer moving up over there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this chosen sword band that has just mopped up the citizen cavalry straight into the back of this armoured legionary. And while that's going on, I can bring heroic nobles in, I can bring that unit in, and I can bring this unit in as well, a sword band at the back there. So another chosen sword band here. And already we've got painted ones going into the back of an armoured legionary. In the front is two swordmen actually, so quite a lot of infantry engaging that armoured legionary. While over here we've just got a painted one that's losing against an armoured legionary. And originally I had brought my slingers in to open fire on the side. But of course I have to engage these Roman archers, or my infantry is going to be completely destroyed by Rome. So here you can see Chosen Swordband coming into the back of the armoured legionary that's chasing the rounded painted ones. Respectable 63 kills there. Heroic Noble's now going to come in and charge this armoured legionary. I have managed to get in a lot of side charges on the Roman units. And meanwhile I can bring in this Chosen Swordband to come around, along with this Swordband. Over here Carthage really has... well, they're not going to win this engagement. You can see the cavalry have gone into the front of the pikes, which is very good. The Libyan infantry are losing to the Spartan hoplites, or no, nonsense. And there's a mercenary Gallic warrior winning that fight there. But over here we can see this Libyan infantry winning against Spartan hoplites. Whereas this Libyan infantry is probably going to die because of this royal Spartan that's coming in. And there's still a massive Spartan cavalry on the field. But this armoured legionary is tied down completely there, which is good for me because it means I have to deal with less of the Roman units. You can see it's just completely destroyed one of my Briton skirmishers. Over here there's an armoured legionary fighting a painted one. Probably worse for the painted ones at this moment in time because they're exhausted. I don't really want to be in this fight, and the armoured legionaries can shoot right through that unit. In this engagement you can see that I've been able to stop this Roman unit from getting in completely to this fight. They've actually withdrawn. Probably because I'm going after their general. Well, I can just as easily turn this unit and go directly into this armoured legionary, which is what I'm going to do. Javelins don't have much effect there, but I'm just going to charge straight into the armoured legionary. There is one thing that I didn't do during this battle, which is that I didn't use shield wall. The shield wall just compacts a unit and keeps it in tight formation, which is good for defensive purposes, but when you're trying to attack enemy units over a sustained period, you want your unit to be able to move around and cause casualties to an enemy unit, really get into it. So I haven't engaged shield wall as of yet. See, this armoured legionary is just chasing my Briton skirmishers. It's quite strange. My general's still back here, I'm just going to charge it in. And the Roman general is also over here, but currently I actually have more men in my general units. And I managed to get more kills with my general as well, so yeah. But all the Roman infantry is pretty much mopped up. A lot of the Roman units have suffered morale problems. I've had my general, during some parts of this battle, close to my men to try and give them, to influence them more. Whether that's helped, I don't know. But over here we can see all the Roman units, just all these archers, Balearic slingers, they're just going to fire on my units, so I'm going to take the ones that have taken the most damage. I'm just going to charge them in, because I want to save as many units as I can, especially for over here where my levy freemen are now going to hopefully help my general and engage this general units. The Roman general unit though is actually going for these Briton slingers. I could have engaged that sword band thinking about it, but it was just very close to routing. Meanwhile over here, Carthage is still having, well, not very much luck to be honest. There's a citizen cavalry going, more citizen cavalry going. You can see this Spartan hoplite here is losing and is surrounded by mercenary Gallic warriors and Libyan infantry. Still half the unit is there, which is just enough to delay fights for a while longer. These pikemen are, well, I don't really know what formation they're trying to do. Presumably trying to get behind these Libyan infantry and finish them off. And we can also see more pikemen moving in to get rid of the cavalry. Carthage really hasn't done enough to keep the cavalry alive. They could have easily come out again, charged in again in some units. Well, not those. In fact, none of those units should be charged into. It's risky going into pikes, I think, in this game, and I don't usually engage cavalry into pikes. Okay, so let's go into normal speed. So I've just engaged the Roman general units. See, it's already lost 3 there. I'm bringing in the levy freeman.
All right.
This is too much for the Roman general, who's now going to flee over there. If I actually lose track of it later on. What he's going to do is going to bring in his archer units, 2 auxiliary Syrian archers there, and he's going to form a second line long here, and that's going to be auxiliary Balearic slings. And they're just going to try and fire it as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to charge in here, I'm going to try and pull through the auxiliary Syrian archers, because I need to be taking this. If I try and run away, die. The only thing I can do is charge in. And I've hit 2 auxiliary Balearic slingers in one. There's another one there that's being chased by a sword band, and there's a levy freeman engaging this auxiliary Syrian archer. While that's going on, I have 4 infantry units here, so chosen sword band, heroic noble, another chosen sword band, and a sword band. So, overall 2 sword bands. Hang on, 2 sword bands, 2 chosen sword band. Which is good because I'm still going to have to face Carthage later on. Carthage, Sparta. You can see they've been easily able to finish off the Carthaginians. I do feel Carthage just weren't really flexible enough in this game. It's down really to the choice of hill. So that's one less to do. That's Greetings now slowly into there. those over the shield moments. So now Sparta's been able to reform because Carthage has finally disengaged after losing most of its army. Still leaving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Spartan units on the field. So we have 3 and 2 Spartan hoplites, 1 Spartan, and 4 pike units. If at all you're wondering what on earth are they going to do right now, how on earth can they take on so many units? Well, there's only one pike tactic at this moment in time that could possibly save them. These pike units with most of the pikemen still here. Only a few left. By this point we've lost all our javelins, so there's no way of winning this with a few javelin tosses. I'm also trying to well, I'm trying to save my units and build up a bit more fatigue so I have a bit more energy in these engagements. Because I know going up against Sparta with Iceni, one of the things I'll need is a lot of energy just to try and to get out when they outmaneuver me. So I'm going to fast forward and we'll see how this plays out. So you can see the Spartan units are now moving around, and I'm also going to be trying to move around in that direction. This is going to be a very hard engagement because the only thing we have to engage is the pikemen, and engaging pikemen is quite hard. There's also a few Carthaginian cavalry hiding behind a tree, rather comically because they're not really hidden, and they're going to try and charge in. Oh! Overall they did take this unit down. We'll soon see, I think by about only 20 really. A full unit of Carthaginian cavalry would actually have knocked a sizable hole in this unit. If you want to think of it that way. Though what Carthage could have used here was shock cavalry, just for the outflanking. Macedon would actually have a good counter to this because they can use Sarissa cavalry, which are very lightly armoured shock cavalry, but they do still pack a wallop. So I'm trying to bring in my units here, but as soon as the pikes go down I'm going to just get out of there because I don't want to stay in that engagement. Sparta's going to try and just realign itself so it can defend. It is going to get caught out minutely, but just enough to take less casualties than losses, or to get more kills than casualties, I suppose. And you see these Libyan infantry engaging, but again the fatigue of our units really is telling. You can see this Libyan infantry exhausted and it's routed. And this one's right by a pike unit, which is ridiculous, in shield wall, and there's pikes backing up, or pikes coming in even. What's that, Spartan hoplite there, but I think you can just about see there is a pike unit here, just in the back. Actually, yeah, it's that Spartan pike just there. So I'm going to try and go for any gaps I possibly can, so I'm going to charge in. No, I'm going to charge in a chosen sword band, and it's managed to find a small gap, and it's also managed to get right into the line of this pike unit. But the pikes are they have a very thick formation. There's many rows, and that's not helping my chosen sword band engage. See, they're losing a bit more than they are, but still, that pike unit really didn't go very quickly. You see, I've got a sword band there. There's also 2 Libyan infantry there. I've kept this chosen sword band engaged. I'm just going to pull out now because I can see that I would probably have lost that engagement. Although I have got near 100 kills. This pike unit is now down to half strength. Libya, the Libyan infantry have chosen to engage just on this corner and really here, which just isn't quite good enough. And that is a problem. See, these Libyan infantry are still very much engaged in a fight with this Spartan hoplite unit and the Spartan pike unit. This is a good opportunity for Libyan infantrymen because the pike units have redeployed whilst the Libyan infantry is inside the formation. But they're eventually getting routed by the Royal Spartan General, which is quite good. It has really, this Libyan army has just sort of been able to eat through units. Meanwhile, we can see this sword band sitting, looking, waiting for an opportunity. And the movements done by the Spartan player are actually quite clever in a way, because he's leaving a gap, say there, and then he's bringing in units from over there to reinforce and turning another unit around. But it's still leaving these Spartan pikemen are quite depleted now. That one's even moved out, and that sword band is just moving away from it. Now you can see he's quite confident because there's it's just sort of a U. It shouldn't be mistaken for feeling confident about engaging. Although there's 2 pike units there, he's now moving one into position just in front, or, well, he's actually going to chase, it looks like, but there's a massive hole there. The fact of the matter is, in the case of this pike box, there simply isn't anything that can close the gap quickly enough. You see here, heroic noble coming in. Right there, a pike unit going out of position but reforming there, so again it's a quick move. Over there we can see that's the Spartan general dealt with, so there's only 3 pike units left now. There's a levy freeman unit that has routed. But I have just charged in my chosen sword band, and I'm just going to try and get into the pikemen, really. And eventually that is going to finish them off completely. It takes a lot of patience to undo a pike box, and there was certainly some amazing tactics there, I think, from Sparta. It's quite ingenious how he did the pike box. I certainly wouldn't call it newbie, because if it was newbie, he would have just left it as a box, not really manoeuvred it. You can see he was really trying to manoeuvre the pikes there. So here we can see I got slightly more kills than losses, but it was the pikes of Sparta that undid my kill to loss ratio. Carthage not doing well. Again, this was simply the choice of build. I think the Carthaginian cavalry, although it could have countered the Roman cavalry, we didn't know who we were up against or what. I think personally some shot cavalry would have been better. The mercenary Gallic warriors did well, which is surprising given what they were going up against. I think mercenary Scutari may have been a better idea, although the Libyan infantry were fairly solid as a unit, and you can see they did fairly well in some circumstances. Mercenary Iberian swordsmen, again, you can see they're doing well. The enemy armies were... well, they were all right, but I mean, the armoured legionaries were clearly not much of a problem to beat. The amount of archers and slingers was unnecessary. I think even just 3 auxiliary Syrian archers would have been better. And concentrating on the British skirmishers was, I think, frankly unnecessary, because British infantry can crumble quite quickly to missile fire, so I don't think it was quite worth it to be firing on my slingers. You can see only one of them did very well, the rest didn't do well. They were charged into early on and they just disappeared on the battlefield. And this Roman general, I didn't quite catch what happened to him, but I think he was lost after all of it. So the Spartan army, now this was... some of the pike units did well, others didn't, and it's quite risky to bring an army that relies entirely on pikes, because you have to put a lot of concentration into the manoeuvring of the pike units, especially when they're in phalanx, which they will be. Spartan hoplites, quite expensive, maybe could have gone for some slightly cheaper hoplites. He could have even gone for the Spartan equivalent to Furio spears. I just have a hard time remembering the name. Although I think the Cretan archers were a good pick. Although Carthage could have brought them as well, but brought the mercenary Balearic slingers. So you can see the Cretan archers doing well. It was a shame the cavalry wasn't really used on the Spartan front, because they could have ended Carthage much quicker and had a lot more of their pikemen left. So I think overall that was the only problem. But the Royal Spartan General, both Spartan Generals were solid, and I think I would have gone for Heroes of Sparta. It would have left me with a bit more cash, and I could have used it on something else. Maybe not even have brought Citizen Cavalry. That might have been a better idea. 4 spear units, I think, maybe, instead of the Citizen Cavalry, because Sparta doesn't need cavalry, necessarily. But countering Carthage, good precaution. Anyway, that was it could have gone either way, that battle. It did go my way, because I'm just good. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.